When the fuck did they start making bread?
That's exactly what I'm asking you.
Where does bread grow?
Was
it literally just like, because you don't know that it's wrong, it's not wrong?
That seems to be the route. If you don't know it's wrong, it's not wrong, which it's that's not a concept I can wrap my head around. If I don't know a rock is hard, it's still hard.
That's true.
If I don't,
but that's a
characteristics.
Yeah, and that's a quality that, like, it's a characteristic that a rock can have. But if you're talking about something like wrong, that's a concept.
Well, you and I need to understand that we are operating from a different definition than of right, wrong, good, and evil than this book is, presumably, because I think they're talking about ontological badness, and what you and I refer to as badness or goodness is, and if I can speak for you for a second, is a measurement of how a particular thing benefits or detracts from human health and well-being.
Yeah, I'm comfortable
That's
with that.
not what they're talking about. They're talking about ontological badness. A thing is bad because that is a characteristic it has.
They're saying that you can do a thing that affects no people, and that thing can be considered wrong.
Yeah,
like
incorrect. I can't wrap my head around that.
Yeah, that's another one, and that's why, like, the concept of sin is just this silly thing. You're telling me that because this particular collection of beliefs has decided that this thing is not ideal, according to some people, that means that now every society must live that way, and that if you do this thing, you have committed the utmost evil. Not only will you be punished for that for eternity by my deity, but you also, you should be punished on earth in some way as well.
Mm-hmm. And also that it is right to punish you for doing these things.
Right, and obligatory, I think.
Yeah, it's got to happen. But we go on. The man said, and this is where he just narks. This is the narking you were talking about.
Yep.
The woman whom thou gavest to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. So it seems that that's just sort of a lie, because the question here was, who told you were naked? Who told thee that thou wast naked? First question. First response, the woman whom thou gavest to be with me. It doesn't say anywhere. It seems as though he's lying, or that's a thing that happened off screen. And then we go on to ask,
well, he does
hast
ask,
thou eaten of the tree? And he says, she gave me of the tree. It's not an answer to the question.
The woman who you gave us to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat.
I didn't know. And the Lord God said unto the woman who doesn't have a name, what is this that thou hast done? That's a lot of THs right there. And the woman said, the serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. So she's beguiled. Passing it, which I actually find kind of fair. I think it's fair to pass the buck there, because I didn't know better, and I got taken advantage of.
Yeah, literally the thing that would have taught me better was this.
Yeah, this fruit.
She takes another bite.
I'm learning.
I like how
I shouldn't keep eating it. I just got to the part of the fruit that says that.
Damn it. No, I just got to the part where that's funny. That's hilarious.
And I know that's probably not what happened.
I know better.
That's a fun way. Just a little side note to everybody out there.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell jokes about this book.
Yeah,
because I find the book to be ridiculous. Very rarely are any of the jokes actually any factor in my non-belief, I suppose. I think I make jokes because I think the thing in the book is silly, so I make a silly thing. It's not that deep. If you are upset by it, I'm not gonna stop. Unless you can get me to believe this God is real, which I encourage you to do. The best way to do that is through arguments and evidence based off of those. Evidence and arguments based off of that evidence.
Yeah, I'm going to co-sign that. I will also make jokes, and if you convince me that thing is like not silly, I probably won't make jokes about it anymore. I might.
Yeah, just give me a better explanation of it not being a silly, ridiculous thing, and I'll stop making fun of it. It's that simple. And yeah, which she says something reasonable. I didn't know any better. This guy took advantage of me who knew better, and I ate. And the Lord God said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shall thou go, and dust shall thou eat all the days of thy life. Serpents eat mice and
true.
small rodents and birds.
Yeah. Well, they didn't. He wasn't. He was kind of disobedient from jump. So, but here's the thing too. I was just thinking this. If I'm Adam and I'm looking at this, and I'm like, okay, so now I've got the master of the universe here in front of me. He's pissed because I did this thing he told me not to do. The reason I did it is because she gave me the fruit. The reason she did it is because he, the serpent, told him to. Serpents. I don't know if they're suggesting that prior to this event, serpents had legs, but let's just assume that they didn't, because we can, I think, assume that lizards also existed, because they do now. And so you have a serpent who is on its belly. And when everybody is getting punished, the first punishment goes to the snake, and he's like, you're going to crawl on your belly forever. And Adam's like, okay. Nothing changed. Maybe this isn't that bad because this is his fault and really nothing changed. And then he's like, you're going to fucking die. Whoa. What?
Now, they give a post hoc rationalization in my study Bible here for the eating of dust thing.
Okay.
That snakes have the Jacob.
Not the belly thing?
Not the. I don't see anything. There may be something about the belly. It doesn't. Okay. It doesn't actually. It does. I don't see anything directly saying that. Okay. But I see here. Snakes have the Jacobson's organ in the roof of their mouths that helps the snake to smell by the forked tongue constantly sampling bits of dust. Licking the dust is also a metaphor for humiliating defeat, a statement of God's curse on Satan. Now. It's still not eating. Mm-mm. It's not, and it's eating,
and it still hasn't been explicitly stated that the serpent is Satan. Now, you said something in Revelation points to that.
Yeah, it says in Revelation something, but it depends on how.
Right, but much like 2 Timothy regarding the other thing.
Actually, also in Isaiah 27:1 and Revelations 12:9.
Right.
Apparently.
But I think we can also kind of attribute that to people who wrote the New Testament. Isaiah is New Testament, isn't it?
I can't find it right now. Give me a second.
Okay. And there's also that even if it's Old Testament, Isaiah, I mean, I don't know when these books were written. The oldest copy we have of the Torah is from 1400 AD.
Probably the oldest complete copy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But when are the Dead Sea Scrolls from?
Dead Sea Scrolls
those are Torah stuff.
Are the 1st century AD, but they're New Testament.
Really?
No, they're not. Let me double check.
They were Old Testament.
They might be. I said that, and then I immediately was completely unsure.
By the way, the tabs in this particular Bible with the abbreviations for books, they're not very helpful because there's nothing on the side here that could even be construed as Isaiah. Unless that's it. Oh, wait, there we go. Correct. Never mind. I'm going to immediately take back my diss of this study Bible because I think I just found it. So, and it says ISA, which is very definitely Isaiah, and that is Old Testament. You had me looking in the New Testament, you fucking fooler.
Yeah, well. You are correct. Dead Sea Scrolls are Old Testament.
Mm-hmm.
Where you will find Isaiah.
1. Isaiah 27:1, in that day the Lord with his sore and great strong sword shall punish Leviathan, the piercing serpent, even Leviathan, that crooked serpent, and he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea. It doesn't say anything about Satan. It says slay the dragon that is in the sea. I don't understand why that can't be a dragon. I understand that Satan is often attributed to this dragon, but I don't see the justification for doing that. And then Revelations 12:9, that's in the back. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Okay, so the great dragon, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth. Okay, so this is Paul. It's Revelations, right? That's Paul going crazy.
That's John of Patmos.
John of Patmos going crazy and just writing down shit. We really care, apparently, what John was saying. When was he writing this? Do you have any idea?
I can look it up. Written around 96 CE.
96 CE. All right, around. And I'll be generous and give him that.
Where's Patmos?
I don't know. Greece sounds like.
It does. It's a Greek island in the Aegean Sea.
There you go. Look at that. So the reason we think that the dragon referred to in Isaiah and the serpent referred to in Genesis are the devil is because John said. Because John said. Why does John say? Because John had a vision.
So I'm looking up the mycology on Patmos Island. I want to see if psilocybin mushrooms grow there, or amanita mushrooms, perhaps. The first result is a Reddit thread from user Always the Outsider on the subreddit X Jehovah's Witness, XJW.
XJWs.
The question was John of Patmos tripping balls when he wrote Revelation?
Yeah.
This person says Bart Ehrman makes the point that Revelation is a particular style of apocalyptic writing, that perhaps the writer was just trying to emulate the established genre. Could be both.
Who knows? We can't talk to him and ask. But let's.
I bet if I go to Patmos and take a psychedelic trip, we'll see.
We'll see. Go to Patmos.
Okay.
So we go on.
Patreon goal.
Okay, make your announcement of Patreon.
Yeah. Fund a trip for the Honest Apostates to Patmos Island, and we'll film an episode there.
Tell you what. I'll tell you what. This isn't going to happen, but if it does, while we're there, we shall confer with some sketchy people, and we will get some. But I don't know the legality status in Greece for.
They're there. I'll find them.
All right, we'll get some, and we will have a experience.
Yeah.
And see what happens. I think that would be a great way. That'll be our mission. That'll be our pilgrimage, I suppose. Yeah. And we'll go. And if that's a great time for the Christian God to get in contact, frankly.
Here's our goal. By the time we film Revelation, that's what
Patmos.
we should our
special
goal
episode.
should be.
Special episode when we get to Revelations, we're going to Patmos.
We got 5 years.
5 years to fund it. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman. I guess now he's talking to Adam, because to be continuing to talk to the snake would be odd.
Nope, this is the snake still.
So he's putting enmity between the snake's seed and her seed?
I believe so.
Snakes can no longer impregnate humans. There we go.
The state or feeling of being actively opposed or hostile to someone or something.
Oh, okay. So So I understand this better now. So what it means is people and snakes are going to hate each other forever, is what I understand.
St. Patrick.
And this is not true from the mere fact that I've met many people who love snakes and whose snakes seem to have a loving relationship with them.
Yeah.
At least loving as it can get with the little lizard brain.
Yeah.
But
it's just waiting for the right moment to tempt them to eat from the tree.
Yeah, just waiting. It's conniving. It's more subtle than any other creature of the field.
So for context, the very first verse, the very first line in Genesis 3 says, now the serpent was more subtle.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's Tracy's joke.
It's just subtle. It's just subtle.
But it's funnier when you explain it.
Yeah, it is. And then he's talking, now he's talking to the woman who isn't named. I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. So it's a 3-part punishment. He's going to greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children. So I will greatly multiply thy sorrow. So there was already sorrow?
There was.
Because if there's no sorrow, and then you multiply that by any amount, there's
number.
still no sorrow.
Still 0.
So there was already some sorrow, apparently. And part of the punishment is that thy desire shall be to thy husband. Your punishment is you shall want your husband. Sounds pretty bad. Sounds pretty terrible. And he shall rule over thee. Didn't he already say that was what was happening? Didn't he already say that Adam was ruling over her?
It was already established that
your
she
punishment
was not
is
an
this
equal
thing that's already happening.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. See, so it's funny because it's kind of like I was saying earlier. The serpent, you're gonna keep doing the same thing to the woman. Like you're gonna basically do the same thing, but it's just gonna hurt a lot more. And Adam's like, okay, well, I am the least guilty here. So I'm probably good.
And
however,
the story seems fairly nonsensical.
Mm-hmm.
And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of because you listened to your wife, okay, there you go. There you go, gentlemen. To be a true Jew or Christian, never listen to your wife. Ever. Under any circumstances. Because that is why God punished Adam. Because you listened to your wife.
He didn't say because you ate of the tree.
He does actually, and hast eaten of the tree.
Oh.
Because you listened to your wife and ate of the tree. So the two things. When you do those things in conjunction.
So if he had
commanded thee, saying, and he repeats his command. Cursed is the ground for thy sake. In sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. Wasn't he already eating of the ground?
Yeah, but now in sorrow.
Oh, you're right. He was already eating of the ground, of all the plants and fruits, because that was what he was explicitly told. And plants and fruits grow from the ground. But now you're going to be sad about it. Okay. Yeah. Or sorrowful of it, I suppose. In the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread.
I don't understand that one.
Where's bread? Where did bread enter this picture?
When the fuck did they start making bread?
That's exactly what I'm asking you.
Where does bread grow? What if Adam's like, what the fuck is bread?
What the hell is bread?
Wait, hang on, go back. What?
What's that? I think I can be a little, if I'm inclined to do so, we can say, you know what? The fruit of the plant wheat is the wheat berry, and the wheat berry can be ground into flour and then baked. Question, where is the fuel? The fuel must be a living thing or previously living. If it was previously living, it is dead. So just further evidence that death exists, because you can't get bread without a lot of things dying.
And like, if they had bread, they knew how to make bread.
Yeah.
Did they? I'm really curious about how an ancient Israelite view, like how they imagined like the very beginning of the world. And like, you can read it in Genesis, kind of. You can't read the whole thing. Like this is clearly nonsensical. But like, they knew that you had to do things to make bread, and that they were describing a reality in which those things didn't exist. But they didn't stop to think that like, hey, we're not going to get anywhere with this.
For out of it, and that thou eat bread till thou return to the ground, for out of it wast thou taken, for dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return. I'm just gonna fucking skate over that because dust is so ambiguous a term that
I like that line actually. I can
wanna
apply
go
that.
dig into it.
Yeah, I like that one just because it was in the Book of Eli. It's what Denzel Washington does right before he kills the first dudes that he kills in that movie. And it also can describe the way that stars must die in order for planets, other stars, living things to exist. Some star must have died, and stars are made out of basically dust. So so of the dust we are, of stardust we are, and to stardust we shall return.
There you go. Which I guess sort of invalidates the previous thing we said about the serpent, because if we're going to be calling all living things to be made of dust, then yeah, the serpent is eating dust.
That's true. And it's not totally accurate to say stars are basically dust, but when they explode, I don't know. I've heard
dust is such an ambiguous term that it just means fine particulates of things.
That's true.
As far as I can tell.
Which I would and will argue that stars are made of fine particulates.
I think everything's made of fine particulates. They're just arranged in a certain manner. But we finally got this woman a name.
Yeah.
In Genesis 3:20. And Adam called his wife's name Eve because she was the mother of all living. Maybe that means something more profound in Hebrew.
I think it does.
It almost has to, because that just seems like a non sequitur. And I called him Timothy because he is the worst person imaginable. Well, that doesn't make sense in this language, but it makes sense in my language.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to give the benefit of the doubt there.
The Hebrew name for Eve is Hawa, Hawwa, with a line over it, H. It is commonly believed to mean a living one.
Sounds like Hannah. That sounds like the precursor to Hannah.
Yeah, kind of. Believed to mean living one or source of life.
There you go. And she was the mother of all living. She was all living. Let's just add the word humans for some reason. Unto Adam also, and to his wife, and this is something you and I are going to talk about because we talked about it earlier. Unto Adam also and to his wife did the Lord God make coats of skins and clothed them. Now, you and I talked about this before, and your argument, and somebody on the internet, was that these coats of skins were the first example of death, which, first of all of the fruits and all of the plants and anything used to make bread and all of this, these are already things that are dying, so whatever. Let's just go to animals. These are the first animals to die. I don't see where you got that he had to kill animals to do that. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
You can magic it.
Doesn't this one say... Oh, this does say skinned. Many of them say leaves. I think in the Hebrew, and I'm trying to find it right now. I think in the Hebrew it's leaves, fig leaves.
That was earlier. When Adam and Eve clothed themselves, they clothed themselves out of fig leaves.
Yes.
When God clothes them, he makes them out of skins.
You are correct.
Which he can just magic out of nothing. So I don't accept that as the first death. He's also just been using magic to do everything up to this point. Why would he go and do it in a non-magic-y way now?
That's true. Yeah. If you got magic, why use not magic? But then again, if it's stupid and it works, it's not stupid.
There you go.
Now,
yeah.
What I had noticed was that Eve did not get her name until after the fall of man.
Yeah, that is something.
So I was curious about that, and because of what it means, giver of life, source of life, whatever, like however you translate it, what this, and the answer I found, and this is an AI overview, so I don't know what the source is. I can find it here. According to the Bible, Eve is only given her name in Genesis 3:20 after the fall of man because the name signifies her role as the mother of all living, which became particularly relevant after the consequences of their sin, including the curse of childbirth. I don't think that's true. They were already told to be fruitful and multiply.
Yeah.
The curse, the punishment for sin didn't change anything about whether or not she was going to be the first mother on the planet. That always would have been the case.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that point is. But what strikes me about this is that in the Bible, there was no reason for the woman to have a name until she had a purpose, and that purpose is just to make babies. And she is named that because, like, it'll happen a lot throughout the Bible. Your name shall be this because your name shall be Timothy because you're the worst person alive. So, like, it does that. And I'm assuming now that I've looked it up, and I thought this was the case before, but like in Hebrew, those names are related to the thing that they are saying that it means. But this means that in Judaism, that's all women are. They weren't important enough to have a name until it was about them making babies.
Well, I think that I don't know enough about Judaism to really grapple with that thing you've said, but I would venture that may be a bit broad of a brush to paint. We're only in the 3rd chapter of the first part of one of the several books of Judaism. I don't think that you can extrapolate from this to say that.
That's true. So I'll say perhaps modern Judaism, or like Judaism as practiced, may not implement that overtly, but the rest, from what I hear, the rest of the Bible doesn't make like a better case for women being equal or like even mattering.
Oh no, definitely not.
So, but then it just sort of, perhaps I'm assuming a motive, which I think is probably not honest.
Well, something else to keep in mind is that the Torah is not the only book, the only Jewish holy book. They also have the Mishnah and I think a third scroll.
I'm not familiar. Yeah, I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, they have
I hadn't
the
even heard of the
Torah,
Mishnah.
they have the Mishnah, and they have, I think, a third one, but I don't know the name of that one.
The Tanakh, it's an amalgamation of 3 different, like the beginnings of 3 different words that represent, like, the first part of the Old Testament is this, the second part is this, the third part is this. All 3 of those scrolls make up what we call the Old Testament.
The Mishnah is the oral Torah, so it's just the Torah, but different, apparently.
The Tanakh consists of the Torah, the Nevi'im, and the Ketuvim. And then, they have oral traditions too. A lot of the stuff about like Enoch, and I think about like the prophet Elijah maybe. But there's a lot of stuff about the prophets and the patriarchs that are just not in the Bible. And you're like, where is that coming from? It's oral tradition.
There you go. But we're nearly to the end of this chapter.
Here we go.
And the Lord God said, Behold, the man is become as one of us to know good and evil. And now, lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. If I'm Adam, when he's saying that, I'm side-eyeing the tree of life.
Booking it.
like,
oh, that's funny.
Now, there's no way you're going to beat God's reaction time. There's no way. But you gotta try.
Yeah, you don't not try. You're like, I wasn't ever going to die before, and now I am, unless I eat that tree. This is my last chance.
Sounds like my life's mission is to get to that tree.
Like either I will die eventually or I won't.
Yeah. Therefore, the Lord God sent him forth from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from whence he was taken, which is actually fairly accurate here, but till the ground. So he drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubims and a flaming sword, which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life. So this is God planning for what we were talking about, for Adam being like, I'm going to get to that goddamn tree. Now, Adam knows there's cherubims there and a spinny sword. And no one wants to go near the spinny sword or the cherubims. They're going to stop me. I believe cherubim is one of the specific castes of angel in this.
They appear to be, it's I'll toss a graphic up on.
Are they the baby ones? That's what I.
No, this is the one that it's winged. It's got eyes all over its wings. It's got hooves, 4 arms. It appears. It's got a human head and also a goat head and an eagle head and a lion head.
All right.
Description about the cherubim. Here's what it says. And in the fire was what looked like 4 living creatures. In appearance, their form was human, but each of them had 4 faces and 4 wings. Their legs were straight. Their feet were like those of a calf and gleamed like burnished bronze. Under their wings on their 4 sides, they had human hands. All 4 of them had faces and wings, and the wings of one touched the wings of another. Each one went straight ahead. They did not turn as they moved. Their faces looked like this. It doesn't the word it literally is just the word this. Their faces looked like this. Each of the it goes on to describe their faces. Each of the 4 had the face of a human being, and on the right side each had the face of a lion, and on the left the face of an ox, and each also had the face of an eagle. Such were their faces. They each had 2 wings spreading out upward, each wing touching that of the creature on either side, and each had 2 other wings covering its body.
That sounds really cool.
It looks really cool. I sent you the link.
Sounds awesome. But that, and then the flaming sword, which turned every way, super spinny. Just you can't sneak up on this sword because it turns every way.
Yeah. So I'm curious about that. Is it like always pointing in every direction? Is it omnidirectional, or is it just like?
So, I've always pictured it as a sword that is turning in every direction really quick.
All the time.
Just like a blender sword.
Gotcha. Like a weed.
Yeah, just going crazy. Yeah. But that's Genesis chapter 3. There you go. We did it. That's Genesis chapter 3. Unless you have some stuff to add.
As even like a verse shorter than Genesis 2, I think. We ended on 24, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. 24 verses compared to... That was a lot.
It was a lot to go over.
Yeah. With this one is... Like, if this book would be better if they took Genesis 3 out. Better, like more coherent.
I think so.
More, definitely be more coherent. But that's probably also true for any other chapter. The more chapters you take out of the Bible, the better it gets.
I think you would eventually find a tipping point, at which point the removal of chapters does not improve it.
Yeah.
I think that
like at a certain point, you just have like Numbers 7.
Well, now if we remove this, there's no
it will get
left.
better. Yeah, but it would be better than just Numbers. I don't know. Let me see. What is Numbers 7 specifically
about? I don't know. I hated what you did, where you just recut me saying Tracy Fish. I hated that. I hated that so much. Because, the cut was so obvious.